Okay, good afternoon. Now, let's have work study. So, mo man naka-display sa inyo din work study. Okay? So, we are also done or naka-discuss na pod ko based on the video sa method study. So, kung may tag method study, that talks about motion study. And then, work measurement, that talks about time study. So, both aims higher productivity. So, mo na siya framework sa work study ha. So, remember that one. So, let's have the advantages of work study. So, first there is, it helps to achieve smooth production flow with minimum interruptions. Ngano ka ha? Why do you think so? Minimum interruptions. You do the time and motion study. So, kung kana ganing smooth flow, that talks about the workplace or the workstation area. So, kaning time and motion study, it helps the company to lay out or kanabitang to plan the good layout para sa mga workers and at the same time, sa whole production. So, mo na nga smooth flow ang ihang production o minimal lang ihang interruptions. Next is, it helps to reduce the cost of the product by eliminating waste and unnecessary operations. In realistic setting sa production or any manufacturing industry, tanan nga motions, tanang process or tanang lihok sa tao is gibayaran na siya sa company. No? So meaning, if there are existing nga motions with the worker and then mas naglabi pa kay come to think of it, si worker if wala na nimo gistadihan samot tag inadlaw na siya, magyaya gyud na siya bisan pag namoy kota pero wa nimo siya na-studyhi individually nga dapat di ay mao jud niyang mabuhat na output. So that time nag-waste na siya og kanang materials, nag-waste na siya energy, and at the same time, nag-waste na po og money ang company niya. It's because, dapat unta to, ang imuhang performance or imuhang output could produce something like this. Kaya na-studyhan man. So, kung without the time and motion study, ang worker, mo trabaho dyan na siya kung kanusa siya ganahan magpaspas ug magyaya. Next is, we have the better worker management relation. That means, if si worker nakakuha sa kota nga which is mo'y gikuan sa management, mo'y gusto sa management, so meaning, there is really a good relationship with them. Nga naman, aside sa nakakuha sa kota, si management is, like for example, aritang manager, or any supervisor baka ha. So, si supervisor, iyang tao is ang workers, the operators. So, kung ang operators nakakuha na sa quota, and then, si supervisor, matagaan sa na siya o saman, matagaan siya incentives, it's because ang iyang mga tao, kay, mga maayo man kay mo trabaho. So, that's it. So, it is like, there is a good benefit between the worker, between the management, between the manager, at the same time between the company. So ingana no. So win-win situation gihapon siya. So that's why there is a good relationship. Next is meets the delivery commitment. Kung ma-encourage na ang worker manggod, if there is motivation, kana makakommit jud ta sa delivery on time. Although we are given sa company no na siya term as lead time. So you will give your customer nga within para sa gud na sa mga shopping nga delivery na to, we are given 3 to 7 days nga makakommit to deliver, diba? Once gani motivated any person with the company, 5 to 7 is very possible. 5 to 7 days of delivery is possible, no? So kung kana mahatag din nato sa customer on time, the product, the service, any product or any services na ma-deliver na to on time. So, nindot kayo. Nindot na kayo sa butang tag from the worker, dili na to i-specify from the production to the management, and then to the company, and to the end user, which is the customer. So nindot kaayo ang relationship up until to the end user. So meaning profit na dahil na siya. So ang both end jud ana profit to the company, and then satisfaction to the customer. Okay, next is reduction in rejections and scrap, and higher utilization of resources of the organization. Dako gyud kayong role ang supervisor or managers sa pag-utilize sa materials. Kaning pag-utilization of the materials, adto ni siya mo impact sa mga asaban, dapita. Mismo sa logistics pa lang, ibutang ta, from the receiving of the raw materials, gina-check na siya. Up until gisud na siya sa production, the moment nga gi-process na siya. So, sa gingon pa ni Ellie, naay mga times nga inevitable nga di bitaw siya malikayan nga naagi mga ma-waste. However, di na dawato ni company nga rason nga it's because inevitable siya. You should have to report, or you should make kana bitang realistic data nga nganong na-fail man siya, why is it na-waste naman na siya, dapat mo dyan na mo mapakita ining report. So, sometimes, si company, di na siya mudawat lang og inana nga rason nga you cannot commit to the customer. It's because of this and this. So, there are a lot of verifications before na madawat sa tag-iya or bisan kinsa or bisan pag-manager nga kuande siya, it's a waste. So as much as possible, if you are the manager, if you are an IE, like kung kuan ka, production planner ka, you should have to make sure all the materials are in good hands. So dapat kung naman gani waste, dapat gamay ra kay siya, like di siya kabutog 1/4, dapat mga point something lang ang waste, nga dili bitaw kayo mairog ang sales or matandog ang profit sa company. Okay, next is, it helps to achieve better working conditions. So, it is just related to the first one, kaning smooth production flow, no? Working conditions naman siya. And then, better workplace layout, nagyapon relationships with this one. Next is, improves upon the existing process or methods and helps in standardization and simplification. Of course, kung ma-layout na nimo siya, sa layout pa lang daan, makita na nimo ang process mismo. So, kung asa ang first step, second step, up until the end. And then, of course, i-simplify nimo siya according to the capability of the machine, capability of the worker, and the capability of the raw of the materials. Next is helps to establish the standard time for an operation or job which has got to application in manpower planning and production planning. Of course, modyo ni ang bottom line sa work studies, to establish standard time. Probably in most company nga katong mga di kaayo known for kana betang mga standardization, ka it's because when we say mong good standardization, it's mahal gid siya. If you apply to mga ganang ISO, ma-apply ka o kana bitang American standards nga to para mahumot imong company, mahal-mahal jud na siya. Mahal siya kung agi mo mga audit inana. So naagi ni mga company karon nga di pa gid kay siya standard ang ilang process. So that is why if you are an IE and then nasud mo ana nga company and then help the company itself to standardize all the process or all the existing operations in that company. Okay? Next is, let's have the method study. So, it enables the industrial engineer, kana ha? Mention jud mo. It enables the industrial engineer to subject each operation to systematic analysis. So, what's the main purpose? What's the main purpose of method study? So, a main purpose dito sa method study is to eliminate the unnecessary operations. katong mga way gamit nga operations and to achieve unsa man the best method of performing the operation. According to British Standards Institution or BS 3138, method study is the systematic recording and critical examination or existing and proposed ways or doing work as a means or developing and applying easier and more effective methods and reducing cost. Okay? So, in carrying out the method study, the right attitude of mind is important. No? Attitude of the mind, jud dapat nagid ka na mga analytical thinking skills, dapat attentive ka to what is the right way to observe a certain process, kana siya. And then we also have here the method study man should have. First is the desire and determination to produce results. Kana no? Lain sad kaayo, there is an input, however, you are not achieving for an output. So, you should have the determination to produce results. Next is ability to achieve results. Of course, before you do a certain product, you have an objective, right? So, na may objective that you need to achieve. So, muna, you have the ability to achieve those objectives that when comes to a good result or a good product. Next is an understanding of the human factors involved. Unsa man kani siya. So, moana magutang time study, method study, or time and motion study, ang iyaha yung bottom line said ani is the human factors. Nga naman, because the human itself create or make the services or make the product. So, once you do the time study, ang imong time studyhan is ang tao man. Diba? Not just the process itself, not just the materials, but ang tao. Next is method study. Scope lies in improving work methods through process and operation analysis such as asaman, manufacturing operations and their sequence, no, operations and their pagkasunod-sunod. So the steps, unsay first step, second step, kana. Next is the workman, di ba? Importante gud kay ang tao. Next is materials, tools, and gadgets. So kanay mga equipment, it's either you have to do the proper maintenance of your equipment, unsa pa man kaha, like imo i-check ang katong mga gamit nga equipment o katong mga dili na gamit nga equipment. So you do the sorting kato 5S ta sad. And the next is layout of physical facilities and workstation design. Next is movement of men and material handling. So once na settle na imong layout, the movement of men is unsa man, dali na lang siya. It's because the materials is dali ra makuha sa iyang kamot, no? Material handling that involves automatic or manual material handling. So kung mana kag automatic material handling, kato nang magamit na ka og mga robotics, kato nang magamit ka og mga CAD, kato nang magamit ka og CAM, katong mga nag-involves na og mga advanced technology. Kung mana sa kag kanang manual material handling, so that means ang tao mismo ang mo handle, like sa pag-transfer baka haron sa materials to another place, to another station, kaya no, or kana mga transferring of materials is ang tao na, or pagtukmod push and pull kana. So mo na manual material handling. Next is the work environment. Okay, so ergonomics is one of the best kadang subject na inyong maagian gyud as an IE. Work environment that includes the lighting, the noise, sa paman, the temperature, kana no, part gyapon na sa imong studyhan. It's because there are factors man gud nga ang noise siguro namatay gi kuan nga acceptable decibels lang, decibels for the company, acceptable for the production area, and there is also nga kanang mga light bitter kung arita og mga lightning kaning mga suga, and temperature if unsa ang kaya nga i-allow sa body for the temperature kung unsa ka init ug unsa ka bugnaw ang working area sa depende man sad na ano kay naa may production na init sad nga kanang magluto ana basta involves og heat siya, and then nasa production nga or services like kung arita og mga may computers, of course dapat bugnaw jud na siya ka para maiwas damage sa mga computers kana no. So, okay, the areas to which method study can be applied successfully in manufacturing are, so to improve, sige balik-balik no, to improve work methods and procedures, to determine the best sequence of doing work, to smoothen material flow with minimum backtracking, and to improve layout kana mo jud na ano mo ni best example sa kuha ka to mag backtracking na dayon kay lisod jud kay siya, as in mabuang-buang manggod ka kung mag backtracking ka, and then may lang lagi para sa akong case nga wag gyud koy nadawat bisag gamay nga sweldo, pero kung nagbayad pa to sila experts ato, like kung ila jud to gikuan ang nangita sag analyst jud ato, mahal uy, di ba lalim magsikog alsa og mga karton para la itimbang-timbang, di jud siya lalim nya. Akong trabaho gi-expect is magpabugnaw ra na mo na aron nya minimum ra ang sweldo. Oh my god, di ba? So bate siya nga kuan niya ako bay kuan pag-asa ng bayan. Okay, next, to improve the working conditions and hence to improve labor efficiency kana once you improve the working conditions or working area, and at the same time dapat i-improve sa dimo imong mga tao, dili lang kaya nindot na kay mong area and then imong mga tao di nindot, so you have to send them any training, any seminars nga particular sa ilahang job, di ba? So narabay tendency nga ang ipadahin noon ang mga kuandra, ang mga manager pero okay raman sad if wagi budget, so si manager siya na mo train sa iyang mga tao. Okay, next is to reduce monotony in the work kana naay times nga ikaw mag ija aho mo na term ana no kana betang wala bitay kuan walay say kuan dili team inyong kuan actually sa school kanang magsinundugay no kanang mag exam yung magsinundugay, di ba mo na din mo yung term ana is teamwork, no? Teamwork na siya to graduate, pero di na siya pwede sa school setting. Ig-ari na manggod sa kuan murag mo lay practice sa inyo ha, ig-ari na sa company teamwork na gud siya, like di ka pwede nga ikaw lang ang mo trabaho para ma-successful imuhang job, di na siya pwede. So ang worker mag-need jud as a manager, si manager mag-need sa iyang kanang highest manager, and then si highest manager mag-need jud na siya sa iyang boss jud ang pinaka-boss. Okay, so there is still connection or communication, proper communication each level sa mga tao. Okay, nasabtan. Next, to improve plant utilization and material utilization. Next is elimination of waste and unproductive operations. Balik-balik ra no. Next is to reduce the manufacturing costs through reducing cycle time of operations. Okay? Kani nga mga words, cycle time, standard time. So ato na siyang makuan ha. So when we say cycle time, sige, to give you an idea, when we say cycle time, mo na siya ibang total time. Okay? Kung moingon na kag standard time, total time, cycle time ti buok time na nabuhat nimo ang activity. Kung moingon ta og standard time, that includes the allowance factor, that includes the contingency factor, so any factor nga gi-standardize sa company, so mo na siya nga standard time. So cycle time is not yet enough, but mo siya kuhaan para makabuhat ko og standard time. Okay, steps or procedure involved in method study. First is select. Sama ng select. So you have to select sama the work to be studied. So unsa nga work imong angay studyhan, and then define its boundaries or define its kanang challenges, define its circumstances kana. You have to select work to be studied. Next is next din ha. It's record. You have to record relevant facts about the job by direct observation and collect such additional data. So maybe needed from the imong mga sources, 'di ba? So you have to record everything kung unsa imong nakita from your direct observation. Next is examine. Maklaro ra? Okay. Next is examine. So the way the job is being performed, 'di ba? And challenge. So you have to also place kanang step by step or sequence and method of performance. Kana imo siya examinon through proper way of method or proper way of sequencing the performance. Next is develop. So it is the butang tag most practical on effective method. So more effective method siya drawing on the contributions of those concerned. You have to develop the method study kana no, or mo select kag best method kana. And then next is to evaluate. So you have to evaluate the different alternatives in developing a new improved method, comparing baka karon the cost effectiveness. Okay? Next is define. So define the method, the procedure, the layout, the equipment, working conditions, materials, and mga quality instructions. Next is you have to install. So once you are done defining or evaluating and defining, now it's time for the installing, 'di ba? The improved method, the plan and arrange, and you have to implement. And the next is di na makita. Sorry. Next is maintain. Kana no? So maintain mura ra gyapon siya i-standardize. So you have to verify na baka verify at a regular interval. Next is selection of the job. Okay, sige, thank you. Selection of the job for method study. Okay, so cost is the main criteria for selection of a job, process and department for methods analysis. To carry out the method study, a job is selected such that proposed method achieves one or more of the following results. So first is improvement in quality with lesser scrap. Balik-balik ra gid siya. Second, increased production through better utilization of resources. Next is elimination of unnecessary operations and movements. Improved layout leading to smooth flow of material. So the same thing with ganina. And a balanced production line. And then improved working conditions. So mabantayan jud na ninyo nganong moingon man jud balanced production lines. Ang term man gud ana sa industry kung makaingon kag balance ya if ang imuhang gibutang nga input is equal to the output, no? Even though sa productivity gi-divide nato siya. However, kung moingon kitag line balance or balanced production line, the ang observer ana mag-expect nga ang imong gisud nga input materials ang imong materials is referred to as the input, which is our resources, is equals to the output, which is the final product. Okay, so ang ibutang anang kuan magud within the work in process or the process itself, although the specific output naman tay gibutang nga man inspection na ba the man itself, the materials, the machines, including naman na siya sa output. Okay? The whole process of the output or the whole processing of the output. Okay. Next is Consideration for selection of method study. We have here economic aspect, technical aspect, and human aspect. So, kung maingon tag economic aspects, so, it involves cost and time. Okay? Sa may mga guidelines to be used for selecting a job, we have here bottleneck operations. Kana no, kung maungot na siya sa usa ka process, mana bottleneck na ihang term ana. And then we also have here kanang mga operations nga nag-involve og excessive labor, kanang mga overtime nga wa na sa panahon nga kanabitang ngano masige mag-overtime. It's because there are sa mga backlog. Okay? So di na siya pwede unta. Kay supposedly a man should work 8 hours a day, no, para unsa man, para dili sad kayo, to avoid the safety and the health of the worker. Next is operations, producing lot of scrap or defectives kana. Next is poor utilization of resources. Another in my mind is katong backtracking of materials, no, kato akong example ganina sa ako ang pagtrabaho sa kanang core box, kana mag-backtracking ka sa tanang materials from the raw materials up until the end, so which is mo cautious a lot of time and a lot of effort. Next is technical step. So careful, I think the man should be careful enough to select a job, no, kung in which it has a technical or technical knowledge and experts kung man technical aspects. So kung once a person selecting in this area, dapat tagaan niyang justice in terms of consistent quality, no, technical aspect dapat na consistent jud dapat ang quality. And then katong mga operations nga nag-involve og a lot of scraps, kana mga technical aspects gyapon na siya, so you have to observe also nga nag-generate og a lot of scraps. Unsa pa kana mga frequent complaints from the workers regarding the job, kay di man jud nakalikayan nga nagidaghang complaints, dili lang si customer ang naay-complaints, also complaints from the worker itself, kay wa nakasabot sa ilang trabaho. It's because dragging na kaayo, kay murag dili na kaya sa ilahang sa ilang ability, kana daghan jud kay na complaints. That is part of the technical aspect. Okay, the last one is the human consideration. So method study means a change as it going to affect the way in which the job is done. So kung manatag so there are also situations where human aspect should be given due importance, kay it's because workers are complaining and also more accidents, and then inconsistent iyang earning. Kay mo lagi na, the more nga magkadaghan ang trabaho, the more nga na-exert kag efforts imong job, and then without a specific additional payment sa imong pagtrabaho, is sakit to ba sa imong part, because you are doing your job not just because grabe ka nimo ka love ang job, it's because nag-earn maya kag money for your family, and then masakit na hinuon ka, it's because na-exert ka too much effort and it's not enough for your body to overcome, diba? So kayo di gyapon siya balance. So you have also to consider the human aspects or the workers aspects para smooth lang gihapon ang relationship. So matubalik gihapon taw with the relationship of the worker and the company itself. Alright, so now let's have the recording techniques for method study. So wala na akong gingon ninyo ang mga applications na. So we have here the charts. So the charts are divided into two, which is the macro motion and the micro motion. Here, also, part of the recording techniques is the diagrams. We have the flow diagram and then the string diagram. So let's have this one. So these charts are used to measure the movement of operator or work. First is to have the adequate description of the activities. So sa inyong gibuhat sa inyong activity 1, which is you have to list all the activities, all the motions involved during or in making or isa pa, in creating your video. So ba na siya? Adequate description of the activities. So, whether the charting is for present or proposed method. Letter C, specific reference to when the activities will begin and end. Of course, if there is a beginning, there is an end of the project or any product or any service. Nadyo na siya definite beginning and end. Okay? Next is time and distance scales used wherever necessary. Okay? So, in the time study or in the method study, nadyo na siya naka-indicate yung time, naka-indicate yung operations, naka-indicate yung distance, which is the transportation. Wanay kwan, distance. Ang term ana sa iya is the transportation. Next is the date of charting and the name of the person who does the charting. Okay, it's very important nga kung mabutang dito kanus aka nag-observe, and then kung kinsa pod ang nag-observe. Next is the types of charts. So as I've said earlier, we have two kinds of chart, the micromotion and the macromotion. Okay, so for the macromotion chart, we have here operation process chart. Yan no? So when we say operation process chart, it is called outline process chart. Okay, so an operation process chart gives the bird's eye view of the whole process by recording only the major activities and inspection involved the process. So operation process charts uses only two symbols, which is the operation and inspection. Okay, we also have here so operation process chart is helpful to visualize the complete sequence kana ang pagkasunod-sunod sa operations and inspections in the process. Know where the operation selected for detailed study fits into the entire process, and in operations process chart, the graphic representation of the points at which materials are introduced into the process and what operations inspections are carried on them are shown. Okay, let's have this one. Okay, so this is an example of the operation process chart. So, ayang part name is washer assembly. And then, part name niya is washer assembly. So, mo niyahang name sa iyahang operation, which is the washer assembly. And then, the date given there is January 16, 2004. Order number, and then, the RG number. So, sa company na siya specifications ana sa company. So, we are given here an example sa operation process chart. Divide siya into three parts, which is the part A, part B, and part C. Part A process or part A operations, we have here 1, 2. So, 1, 2. Ang 1 is cut to size. Part A, part B, part C. Akong nasabtan lang ani nga ihang gikuan na example is there is like a machine naka-assign sa part B, nasa naka-assign nga kuan buta ta machine sa part A, part nasa sa part C. Kay awa first niya nga operation for the part A is cut to size, and then turn and bore, and then naa say gi-inspect, no? And then sa part B, after gi-inspect, gi-turn and face din siya, gi-drill, 3, 4, and then dayon 5 gi-assemble siya, and then sa part C na dayon gi-turn, then gi-thread, and then gi-mill, and then number 2 inspecting na sad, and then pag after na niya sa 9, then final assembly, and then the number 3 is final inspection again. Ang makita, 'di ba, ang gingon sa operation process chart, yang makita is the operation and the
inspection.
okay, correct, the inspection. So as you can see, ang napakita ra gyud sa iya is operation and inspection chart ra gyud. Okay, nagasinabtan na itana. So at least ba kung makasugat mo ani nga type of chart, so dili ra ka mo maglibog. So kung operation and inspection ra yung gipakita, that is operation process chart. Next is the flow process chart, right? So it gives the sequence of flow of work of a product or any part of it. Okay. Any part of it through the work center or the department, recording the events using appropriate symbols. So it is the amplification of the operation process chart in which operations, inspection, storage, delay, and transportation are represented. So, ang example ano niya, we have three types of process charts. We have the material, man type, equipment type. So, the flow process chart is useful to reduce the distance traveled by men, okay, or the materials itself, to avoid waiting time and unnecessary delays, to reduce the cycle time by combining or eliminating operations. Again, if there are similar operations, you can combine them. If there are operations that is not necessary for the activity, you need to eliminate. Okay? Next is to fix up the sequence of operations. And next is to relocate the inspection stages. Okay. Example. So, ang circle is operation, siya term as operation. And then, ang kanang kuan arrow is transport. And then, the square is the inspect. The murag D nga, unsa na siya, delay. And then, storage nga gituwad, ang triangle. And then, kana siyang orange, this one is the handle. And then, this one is the decide. Okay? Decide or more siyang decision making if i-go ba siya yes or no raman ano, if i-go ba ang operation or not, then ibalik siya sa babaw. Okay, so here, so steel plates in store, so gi-inspect sa siya, and then move to gas cutting, so kana gi-move man siya, so transportation iyang gigamit kani siyang arrow. And then weight cutting being set, so weight siya na siya sa storage. Plates cut to size, that is an operation. Move to, and then move to MC shop, which is transportation. And then inspected before machining. Inspected before machining, ang yang gikuan din he is operation. Nga naman, kung moingon magatag operation, there is something kang maka-add siya to the next step. Pero pwede sad siya nga dinhi, pwede sad siya inspection, pero murag sa iyaha is gihimo siya as operation. Okay? Other man type and material. So here, so chart begins in man inspection department and the chart ends man inspection department. So it's the same. So here for the man type, to goods receiving, operation, locate component, operation number 2, pick out component, and then 2, transportation to inspect the inspection department, and then operation set the component to bench, and then inspection, visual inspection lang siya. And then 4th, measure and record length. 5th is put inspection seal, and then another transportation to stores. So kana to stores raman iya siyang ibalhin kung na stored na siya, that's the right time you have to use the sign katong kuan storage nga sign, which is natuwad nga kuan, natuwad na triangle. Next is enter in stock, which is an operation. Next is transportation return to inspection department, so ni return man siya, so nibalik siya to inspection department. Next here is the material type. The chart begins in material in goods receiving, of course, and then materials in stores, na stored na siya. Ang iyang bali na human iyang chart sa stored na. First is the delay, await arrival of man. So delay siya, it's because na may waiting time. So mana iyang symbol. And the next is transportation to inspection department. And then here, another operation, and then inspection. Next is operation, measure dimensions, stamped, and then to stores. So that is transportation, and then na stored na siya, that is storage. Storage nga symbols. Okay. Balik-balik lagi ato. Wait, delete. Okay, here. Another sample of chart is the 200 process chart. So a 200 process chart is the most detailed type of flow chart in which the activities of the worker's hands are recorded in relation to one another. The 200 process chart is normally confined to work carried out as a single workplace. Okay, so sa may naong ka ng 200 ay 200 ngayon. So the application of these charts are to visualize the complete sequence of activities in a repetitive task. And then next is to study the workstation layout. So money ang now sa 200 process chart. Okay? So 200, okay? The left hand and the right hand. So ang iyang job is assembly of washer and nut to a bolt. Okay, mo na imong job. And then the chart begins is both hands free before assembly. So, pasabot ana, your hands are free of something because wa pa man ka nag-start. Wa pa ka nag-start og ka na assemble. Next is the chart ends. So, free. Mahuman na nimo assemble. That means your hands are free right now. So ang chart type niya is existing method or proposed method. Okay. Assembly bolt, washer nut, and then the date, walay date, operator, no. Chart number, no. Walay data. Okay. Here, sa left hand, so ang SI number, I think, wala ra na siya. 1 to sequence number lang na siya. The left hand, mo description of the activities. So, tanan nga gibuhat nimo sa imuhang left hand, imo jud nang i-describe, imong i-list, di ba? And then tanan pud nga ni sa imong right hand, imo sad i-list. And then you need to use the symbols. So, unsa man to na symbols, kung wala man lang gani gamit, tan-aw nimo na human na nimo describe tanan ang imuhang activities, the list of your activities. You don't need to put mga symbols pa lang kay maghugaw-hugaw ra na siya sa imong charting kay sa iyang mangud dinhi is operation, transportation, and storage lang ang gikinahanglan. Diba? So here, so atong itagsa-tagsa from the left hand to the bolt tray, meaning iyahang left hand free pa siya. So to the bolt tray, that means ni transport siya. Okay? And then sa right hand to the washer tray, so ni transport sad siya, diba? And then next is picks up one bolt, that is operation, and then picks up one washer, that is operation, and then returns to original position, that is transportation, returns to the initial position, that is transportation. That's it. So mo na siya chart sa 200 process chart. Mo na siya kanabetang visualization if unsa din ang 200 process chart. Magamit imong duha ka kamot. Okay? Sa garan ani adto jud ni siya sa kanang mga manufacturing industry, like ibutan nato Bitsumi, like arisad sa kuan kanang asa sa MEPSA, pwede sad siya. Pwede sad kanang mag-bake mo cake or magluto-luto mo sa inyo ha. Actually, you are using your two hands, diba? If way gamit imong usa ka hand, it's because usa ray nagamit. That means you have the right idle. Ang idle ana is wala kay gibuhat. Wala na gibuhat imong hand, left hand or any right hand. Kay what if like left-handed ka? So gamit jud kay nimo imong left. It's because may mga usual na gamiton. So that means your right hand is idle in that specific activity. Okay? Wala.
Miss.
Asa ko na ho. Hala, uy, kababa mo. Daghan na kay kong natabi.
Out man ka, miss.
Daghan na,
Out kami.
daghan na kay kong natabi. As in. Mag,
Miss, lawa ka ato ganihan, miss.
mao, asa ko nahunong.
Ang left and right, miss.
Sa tungtong
Left and
content,
right, miss.
miss.
Mao, daghan na biya kay kong natabi. Oh my God. Luno, nakalit na kong gawa. Sige lang, naman siya sa record. Sige, mo na siya nakandot ni OBS no. Kay, kuhan man siya, offline man siya. So, muna nga, samtang nagklase ko ninyo, nag-recording po siya sa OBS. Okay? At least baka muna yung instances yung ani nga. Huwag yun ta, bisan pag unsa ka fiber sa imong internet. So, unsa pa ka fiber sa imong internet, murag magwawa na gid siya. Muna nakaingon na ba overuse naman kay ka, uy, taas na kay imong time, nagtabi ka Smith. Huwag tangon sa tanay mo internet. Okay. So here, 'di ba nahunong ko sa 200. Any question with this chart? Question with this chart.
Miss,
Yes.
ay kaning kuan miss ba unsa ni SL number miss?
Mm.
Kaning sa kilid kaning 1 2 3 4 5. Paunsa na siya miss?
Wala ra na siya. It's just a sequence number
Ay,
of
sa
the
sequence
description
lang.
ra na, oh. Sequential number ra
Okay,
na siya.
miss.
Mm.
Okay, miss. Thank you, miss.
Sige. Another question? Any question? Tama, narbaho mo po, madyo ninyo masugatan, mga charts, puul kayo putanawon, grabe. Nagklase-klase na lang nga chart, inyong masugatan. Or ikaw na lang mayabag og kuan, kada betang anang evaluate, or ikaw na lang mabuang o validate unsa ni nga chart, para asa na sad ni. Okay, so I think there is no question no, kasi yun pa man siya, ang pagkuan lang gid ano no, ang pag-perform, if unsa ang pag-describe sa activities, each katong predetermined nga kanang activities kana no, bali kung kada motion, murag di ka kabantay ba nga ay apil na dito siya sa time kaning kuan ko, murag di nimo ma-describe tan ng activities. However, part jud na siya once all your motions all the time nga imong na-consume, that is part of the activity nga nahuman siya. Okay? Next is we have here the multiple activity chart. So it is a chart where activities, napa ko guys. Napa ko. Napa ko? Okay pa ko? Ako nawa.
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Okay.
miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Wabi na kong nawa na sad ko. Okay, so it is a chart where activities of more than
Promise.
subject, okay, more than subject, worker, or equipment. So, na term ani niya gang chart ang panganjud ani niya gang gang chart. So mo na siya multiple activity chart are each recorded on a common time scale to show their interrelationship. So, unsa man multiple activity chart is made ngano man, it's because you have to study the idle time of the man and machines, na ba? So, mo na siya nga gang chart, man, machine chart. Okay mo na. Multiple activity chart, slash, gang chart, and then slash, man, machine chart. Okay? To determine number of machines handled by one operator. Kana, makuan siya if pila daay ka machines ang gihandle sa usa ka operator, and then ma-determine sad ang number of operators required in teamwork to perform the given job kana no. So so may examples ana niya. So mo na yung example. So man machine chart. So here the operation, man removes the rubber band. So that means the man is working. So na diri sa ubos nasa ubos ang key kuan. So kung kanang naimurag diagonal line, that means the man is working. And there is a time indicated with that one. And then kung kanang plain lang siya, that means idle si machine. Okay? Man removes the rubber band. So man there is a 0 seconds lang daw siya. Dali raman, camera point something lang na siya, 'di ba? Kuan milliseconds lang na ang pag-remove sa sa man na hinuon sa rubber band. Man picks up weight from the hopper. So man lagi hapon. So that means si man ang nagworking. Deck is placed in hopper and then man replaces weight in deck. Man pushes start button. And then ang 12 is nagworking na dayon ang kuan, di ba? Man pushes start button, that means nagworking na sa machine. No, sa 12, that is 12 seconds. And then man picks up deck from output stacker. And then rubber band is replaced on the deck. Okay. Any question with this one? So this chart is a multiple activity chart in which you can identify if naglihok ba ang man, if galihok ga-working ba ang machine, and makuan man gud nimo if pila di ay kuan makaya kay kung masigi kag hire, for example na masigi kag hire og operator, and then kaya ra day siya og 1:3, no, kaya da siya one person or one worker to 3 machines, no, or pwede basad ka nga 2 person in 1 machine. So depende man na siya. So mo ni gamit ni gang chart. So it helps the evaluator nga pila day atong ikuan ani nga pila ka buok machine ato ipakuan sa operator, pila sad ka buok operator if a certain kind of machine. Okay, nasabtan. Okay pa ta guys.
Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes, miss.
Okay, sige. Okay. Okay, so the flow process chart shows the sequence and nature of the movement, but it does not clearly show the path of movements. In the path of movements, there are often undesirable features such as congestion, backtracking, and necessary long movement. So that is why diagrams used in the method study. So katong kuan ibutang ta. So this is a flow process chart, no. So we have here gitawag na to flow diagram, and we also have string diagram. So ang flow diagram kani siya, the flow process chart, there is like magkasunod-sunod japon ba ang ihang kwan is from this one, from the transportation na siya another transportation to the operation. So mo na diagram na siya. Ang string diagram is kani pwede ra ba ani mo butangan og dira dot 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 dot. However, para there is an interconnection, imo siyang butangan og string connected to the transportation, connected to the operation, connected to the transportation, connected to the storage. So that is string diagram. Kay kung kuan man gud ibutatag 200 process chart siya without the string diagram, ang iyahang ma-display lang is the dot 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 dot, in which mas lisod siya i-identify. That is why there is an interconnection with the use with the string diagram, and at the same time kanisad sa flow diagram. Kay kung moingon tag flow process chart without the flow diagramming kaning pagsumpay-sumpay, so maglisod kag identify if there is an interconnection with that certain process to another process. Okay, nagkasinabtanay ta dihang dapita. Ayo. Nagkasinabtanay ta. Tell me yes or no. Yes? Yes? Okay pa ta? Hamas Christian B? Christian Ponce. Nangatog na jud sila.
Okay
Ella.
po, miss.
Okay, Ella.
Miss,
Okay.
Miss. Miss.
Nawa na sad ko.
Miss, naara mi
Okay, nara dahil mo ako may wa na sad. Sige, my God. Sige, continue ta. Asa ko na human? Asa ko na stop?
naara mi
Sa diagrams. Asa ko na stop? Diagrams, no?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. So, moto siya akong gingon no. Diagrams, we have the flow diagram and the string diagram. Naabot pa ba ko din ha? Flow diagram and string diagram. Naabot pa ko din ha?
So, kana na yung next, Miss.
Okay. So, wala pa mo kakuan. Okay. Okay, so to study the different layout plans and thereby to study the different layout plans and thereby select the most optimal layout, to study traffic and frequency over different routes of the plant. And next is to identify or identification of backtracking and obstacles during movement. So as I've said, there are two types of diagram, which is the flow diagram and the string diagram. Okay pa ko? Madungog pa ko? Guys?
Yes, Miss.
Okay.
Yes, Miss.
So let me
Yes,
continue.
Miss.
Let me continue. So flow diagram, diba? As you can see here, this is a flow process chart. So when we say flow diagram, kani, ang giingon lang ni flow process chart is makita nimo ang iyahang sequence sa pagkasunod-sunod. No. The symbols of the operations or the activities nga iyahang gibuhat, diba? And then kung muna tag flow diagram, flow process chart with the flow diagram, kaninang naikuan, diba? Transportation, and then kanina nas ubos, which means the interconnection from the next activity. Nasad interconnection, okay? Ang noun ni string diagram, mo ni noun ni flow diagram. Flow process chart or flow diagram is just interrelated. Kaning string diagram, there is also an interconnection from the first activity, from the first description of the activity to the second. So mo ni siya kaning naa dinhi, kaning nasa symbols nga gi-connect kana bitang mga point nga gi-connect. That is a string diagram. Okay? Nasabtan. Okay pa? Nasabtan? Any question? Ella? Question? Do you want to say something?
Wala ra, Miss.
Okay. So, maka-proceed ko. Walay mag-question? Okay. Okay. So, we're done with this one naman. So, again, the symbols used in method study it is very important for the method study. So, makasinag-ulang mo ani, makahinumdum lang mo ani, and then you're good to go to do the time study and then have your OJT. Okay? Next is, we have here an examples like the action for the operation, it adds value to the next step. The transport moves some distance, inspect, check for defects, delay, the temporary or delay or hold, and formal warehousing for the storage, transfer or sort for the handle, and then decide, make a decision. But commonly used here is the operation, transport, inspect, delay, storage, and decide. I don't think if naabay handle jud nga igabot ninyo sa kuan, kay sa akong nasugatan is wala pa joy handle, pero siguro apila na sila sa kuan na karon ining process charting na. Okay? So, when we say operation, So, when we say operation, an operation occurs when an object is intentionally changed in one or more of its characteristics. It's either physical or chemical. So this indicates naman the main steps in a process, method, or any mga procedure. An operation saman always takes the object nga kanabitang one stage ahead na siya towards the completion of the next step. Mana examples of the operation saman mana tag chemical reaction, unsa pa, lifting, loading, unloading, unsa man, makakuha tag instruction, getting instructions from the supervisor, sa pa mga drilling, milling kana siya, welding, sa pa. So there are a lot no mga ingana sa pa mga dictation from the supervisor. Okay, that is an operation. Next is remember how operation is a circle. So nga naman okay. Next is inspection. So an inspection occurs when an object is examined and compared when the standard of quality and quantity. So the inspection examples are visual observations for finish, count of quantity of incoming material, and then checking the dimensions. Okay, kay naaman tay mga specifications with the customer. Of course, you have to check the size, the dimensions of the specific product. You can do a random sampling lang, dili tanan jud mismo nga output nga nahuman. Pwede lang random sampling para dali ra. Okay? Or kung gusto jud kag 100% inspection, hala. If you have enough time to do the 100% inspection, pwede sad. Okay? Next is the transportation. So, mo ni siya, transportation with an arrow sign or symbol. So, it is a transport indicates the movement of workers, materials, or equipment from one place to another. Okay? Example, movement of materials from one workstation to another. And then workers traveling to bring tools. Okay, we have here delay. Hapit na tamahuman, yay, ka 62 na ta. 62 out of 70. Okay, next is we have the delay. So a delay occurs when the immediate performance of the next planned thing does not take place, no? Kana kung naa siya waiting time. So example, work waiting between consecutive operations, workers waiting at tool cribs, nagpaabot ang mga workers sa mga tools, and then operators waiting for instructions from the supervisor. Another one is the storage. So storage occurs when the object is kept in an authorized custody and it is protected against unauthorized removal. Okay. Ang person ra jud nga who is allowed to get the materials from the storage is katurag yung authorized person, no? Katong mga saman naaman na gi-assign jud kada area for the storage na that specific materials is handled by this person, and then kanira pod nga person ang pwedeng mukuha. Okay, unless if bugat kay siya, that's the right time nga magkinahanglan na og katong mga lifting lifting tools or kanang saman unsa gi term ana kuya Gilbert kana ganing mga lifting nga sakyan unsa gingan ana nila, unsa gingan ana iya kanang lifting nga kuan kuya ba?
Forklift, miss.
Okay. Kanara di ay forklift. Unsa pa nalain niya? Forklift.
Bomb truck.
Kana mga ingana. So unless if bugat na kayo ang mga materials, so that's the right time na dili nasad kaya siguro sa storage personnel nga siya pay mo alsa. So kana makinahanglan jud og mga kuan anang mga equipment. Okay, next is okay, here. Sige. Okay, let's have an example before we end. So kato, dito lang sa tako to, mga symbols and then mga kuan lang, macro motion lang sa tanga charts. Any question with the chartings, macro motion charts? Any question? Question, guys? Any questions with the macro chart? Macro chart. None? Ellie, do you have any question, Ellie?
Wala na, miss.
Wala ra. Nasabtan ra. Really? Nasabtan jud? How about others? Devin, question. Question. Wala ra. Moya, question Moya.
Wala ra.
Okay. Moya, question. Wala. Ask si Moya. Yes, kuya. Nag-open kasi mong mic. Do you have any question, kuya?
Miss?
Do you have any question? Nag-open kasi mong mic.
Wala, miss. Wala.
Okay.
Ay, wala, miss. Wala.
Okay. Sige, Moya, question. No more question? Okay. Okay, no more questions. Since no more question, now let's have an example or have an illustration. Develop a process chart for making a cheese sandwich. Okay. Karon. Mag-develop to tag process chart. Okay? So, saan man? Let's So, unsa man to'y sud sa process chart? Unsay makita sa process chart? Hello. Now, you are asked to develop a process chart for making a cheese sandwich. My favorite, cheese sandwich. Okay. Unsa man to? We have here the unsa man to pinakaunas process chart. We have here the description. No. Description of the activities. Next is unsa man the baga ko ninyo oy. Unsay sunod? Process chart. Ayo. Wala taw. Sige na, rumaw man na ta.
Hi, miss.
Ha? Unsay sunod? Unsay sunod?
Symbols.
Symbols. Okay, that's
Symbols.
done. Oh yes, that's good. Symbols. After the symbols, ito man.
Time is time.
Okay, that's
Alak.
good. Time. The time. Okay. So, in making a sandwich, what is the first activity that we need to do? First, nimong buhaton.
Wash hands, please.
Preparation of the ingredients.
Okay. So, you need to move, asa ni mo nabutang, move to, ibutatag cabinet. Diba? Cabinet. So, our operation here is, unsa man? Chat operation ani, operation, ato symbols ani, operation. Ano, ato symbols ani kay? Unsa man? Unsa to?
Arrow.
Okay. Unsa?
Arrow.
Arrow. Okay, that's arrow.
Katong arrow, miss.
Ha? Pila man ka atong time ana? Putang tag in minutes. Pila atong time? 1 minute lang. No? Next, unsa may sunod ka ha? adto na nimo sa cabinet dayon. Susunod.
Magkuha sa pan, Miss.
Okay,
Get the bread.
get
Plus
the
ingredients.
get the bread. Okay, get the bread. So unsa man ang get the bread?
Ingredients.
Unsa
Primary ingredients.
Yes, unsa man ang get the bread? What symbol? Unsa may symbol sa get the bread?
Operate.
Okay, that is unsa?
Operation, Miss,
Okay,
or
operation.
Operation.
Okay, unsa man toy symbol sa operation? What's the symbol?
Circle.
Okay,
Circle, Miss.
circle, Miss.
Circle.
Okay, circle. Okay, next. So, pila man ka atong time ani?
Two minutes.
2 minutes? Sige, 2 minutes. 2 minutes ang pagkuha sa bread, okay? Sige, ikaw mo bahala. Basta mo kayo na-observe. Next is, unsa man?
Circle.
Ha? Sa circle. Okay, ikaw man yung magkuha sa bread, ayun.
Get the cheese, Miss.
Get the pan.
Okay, get, 'di ba? Ang kanang get the bread is loaf pa na loaf of bread. Get the loaf of bread, 'di ba? Kuan pa man na siya. Inikuha nimo.
Yes, Miss.
Oo, no. Nya dayon mukuha na din ka og pila man. Mukuha ka og remove baka ha, remove. Pila kaya nimo mahurot? 2 slices of bread. Sa kwa, tura. Inyo ha, sige, butatag 5.
Mag-remove.
Oo. Remove. Imong kuha ba, balik kuhaon nimo. Gikuha naman nimo no, and then you have to remove the imong kuhaon. Okay? So, that is unsa naman sad? Unsa nga symbol?
Open the, gusto mag-plastic, Miss. I-open na kuno sa.
I-open sa...
Operation, yak na siya, Miss.
Ha?
Operation,
Miss,
yak na siya.
Yes, that is operation. Unsa man?
Check.
I-check ang
Inspection, Miss.
Circle.
kay ngano man, inspect nimo kay
Basig panos.
Bis ba sinadaot ang
masin ko na. Okay. So, ani ni siya. So,
Pan.
move to cabinet, get the loaf.
basin ko ansad, Miss. Basin dili home.
Okay, get the loaf of bread and then ato i-kuan dire inspect. Ano? Inspect. Hello, no ang taho. Wait sa ha.
Inspect the bread. Taho na sa miss.
Nanasan
Taho
ang
na sa-
taho. Wait sa ka, Jot. Ako sa iyo. Wait sa ka, Jot, guys, ha. Dong! John! Palite sa kong taho, pe. Palite kong taho. Nadire, padong. Oh. Okay. Sorry guys. Sige. Next, unsa may sunod ato? Gi-inspect nimo, so unsa may symbol sa inspect? Unsa yung symbol sa inspect?
Square,
Square. Okay, we have square. Square.
miss.
Square. Pero pa doon siya rectangle. Okay, square. So, pila man na ka minute. So, ikaw na bahala sa minute. So, tatag 1 minute. And then here, gi-remove na din. Once na human kag-inspect kay.
Wala na circle na tao. Wala ang sukli.
Ko ni. Okay, so once na remove na nimo, once na inspect na nimo kay okay pa siya, humubok pa, and then wala pa na expire, and then remove na din kag 5 slices of bread. So butatag 2 minute. Next ana, unsa naman? Unsa man?
Mag
Unsa? Unsa sunod? Unsa sunod?
Go to the
Go to
refrigerator, miss.
ngano man, go to refrigerator kay magunsa man ka.
Magkuha sa cheese, miss.
Char. Okay. So, moadto ka og kuan refrigerator. Go to the refrigerator. So that means unsa may symbol ana? Transportation.
Nagyapong
Arrow. The arrow 1. Ito kuan para pareha siya og noun. Okay? So, ibutata go to the refrigerator mga 3 minutes. Na. Next, after sa go to the refrigerator, after sa go to the refrigerator, saan naman? Ha?
get the cheese.
Okay. You have to get the cheese. So that means, saan siya operation? Get the cheese. Okay.
When that
Dayon, sunod sa get the cheese.
siya, miss.
Sama.
Inspect, miss.
Ano yung inspect man?
Masinyag na icon sa cheese, miss ba?
Sige, inspect na sad. So, inspect.
Or ang cheese, miss.
Okay, inspect. Okay.
Basin daw ning gahi ang cheese, miss.
Oh, okay. Sige, pwede. Pwede kayo na. Okay, next. Unsa pa man kung sunod? After inspecting, unsa may metabo after inspecting?
go to the kitchen.
Ha? Go to the kitchen? Ngano, mag-unsa ka sa
Go to the kitchen.
kay?
Place it into the countertop.
Tuhag kutsara.
Magkukutsa. Okay.
Kutsaraon ng sandwich.
Okay. So, meaning, wala may kutsara dito sa refrigerator dapat. So, muadto na sad ka sa kitchen. No. Go to the kitchen and then get the so pa. Get
Yes, miss. Spoon.
the spoon. Alright, after getting the spoon, diba? Ingani
Miss,
siya.
melted cheese din na, miss.
Ha? Ang unsa nga cheese? Pwede sa belt kung ano. Puta ka ba unsa ni nga cheese?
Nice
Ay,
na lang.
mayonnaise ra na, miss. Na cheese. Apang sandwich na.
Cheese whiz na lang.
Kutsara.
Basta hindi gisud og kung ano bottle.
Katong gito na, miss. Katong mangisod og grapon na.
Oo, di ba?
Cheese.
Oh, social man kay kuya inyo nga kay sachet ra man ka inyo nga kag kuya kay bottle. Katawag na sa battle iya hao.
May to kutsara.
Oh,
Kato lang nas garapon.
so get the spoon, and then right after getting the spoon, you have to return back. Diba?
Expect pang spoon, miss.
Diba natay nakaligtaan ngano man remove kag 5 slices of bread. However, did you bring the slices pagpadung sa refrigerator, or imo pa siyang gi-place into another kuan table? So man, so ikuha na to. Basin, kay awan,
I-place to, miss.
nga, diba, i-place pa na to siya, kay murag, ambot lang sad sa inyo, ano, sa inyong case ba? Like, so, pwede man, gidaan na to sa refrigerator, nagkuha ta sa cheese. So, yun sa man mo pagpahid, kung napatay spoon, kung mo siya gibutang lang ni mo glaw sa babaw sa refrigerator. Place on top the refrigerator. Unsa man. Di ba nga na siya kakuti. How much more if naa mo sa industry? Nagagmay pag itong lihok dito. Kaya siya, every movement lagi sa imo is imo siyang ikuan. So much for that. So mo na, at least you are already kanang,
Excuse me, miss.
yes,
Isipit mo to.
yes, usa man.
Miss, kanang, kuha lang, miss ba? Di ba, na
Chan, unsa chan?
may mga instances, like for example, tanang necessities na need.
Mm.
Dili siya pwede one way, miss. Like, tanang necessities na need mo nga nasa kitchen, is kahon rag kuha. Before ka move sa ref na, inana may skill.
Correct. So kana, nice question, Chad. So that's the right time that you need to improve. That's the right time that you
Yes,
need
miss.
to improve the process chart. Okay, as you can
Yes,
see,
miss.
you are spending too much traveling. You are spending too much transporting to another place, where in fact making a cheese is just a minute, more more gamay lang ka siya nga panahon para
Simple,
buhaton.
yes,
A simple kuan ba activity to
yes,
do.
miss.
Yes, and then you are spending much of time. So that's why that's the right time na you have to create another chart in which you have to combine everything, 'di ba? You have to put all the materials, everything in a one at nawa na sad ko. I'm back. Ano man tangan internet eh? Ayun, napa ko guys.
Yes, miss. Yes, miss. Yes,
Okay.
miss. Nabalik na, miss.
Okay. So, that's what I've said nga. You have to put everything na certain place nga kanang ma-prepare na siya daan. Okay, ma-eliminate naman nimo tong mga time nga na waste nga katong pag-travel pa nimo. So, nice question or nice suggestion si Christian. Why not? Ibutang na lang nato into one place. Get all your materials that you needed to make a sandwich in one place and then do the operation. And so, mao na siya. So, na-eliminate na nimo ang pag-ado-ado kitchen, pag magkuha sa imong kutsara, ingana. Diba? So, at least karon naka-observe mo nga there is um,
Pero nasa na po yung instances,
there's a need that you have to improve your process. Okay, yes, Marian, nasa instances nga
nga kanang kulang ang kanang ingredient
kulang imong
baron miss
ingredients.
sa
Kanya, mo lagi na. The question is, kung adto tag store kanang mga baligya-baligya, ang question, kung kuwang kag ingredients, the big question is, willing to wait pa imong customer kung mupalit pa ka sa ingredients. Willing to wait pa ba siya? 'Di ba? So kung namaligya kag sandwich or cheese sandwich, any kind of sandwich, make sure you have a lot of stocks na dapat na makahatag ka sa customer. Yeah, questions gihapon na siya. Dapat ang customer nga mupalit anak karon naa ba ka kay stock? Kung wala, di sayang kay it's kuha na ba to, profit na ba to nimo, wa man jud kay stock. So that's why you have to murag kuan ba mo offer kag something which is available sa imuha. Ana no, murag layo na katag napadungan ba. But anyways, ang point lang jud ani is observe the current process pa lang. Observe sa without kanabitang hesitating in doing something. Observe lang sa observe everything what is existing, and then analyze each process. Motto, you have to combine those similar process and eliminate those unnecessary process. Okay? Maayo nga na-observe dayon ninyo. Nagkasinabtan na ita. Ni nagklase pa man ko ni.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss.
Yes, miss.
Ni nagklase pa ko ni. Huy. Si Honey. Okay. Let's have this one. Last one. Develop a multiple activity chart for doing 3 loads of laundry. Assume you will have access to one washing machine and one dryer again. Develop a multiple activity chart for doing 3 loads of laundry. Assume you will have an access to one washing machine and one dryer. So we have here 2 machines involved, no, as you can see. 2 machines involved. Now we need to develop, so repeat cycle ra gini siya. So kuan ra ni manglaba, labhanan. Oh, isa siya, manglaba. Oh, yes, manglaba. So this will be our repeat cycle for the operator. One operator for 2 machine, diba? Now I want you to identify if it's idle or not, or idle, run, loaded, unloaded. So kana no. Here, load clothes and detergent in machine 1. So unsa may mahitabo sa machine 1 washer? Ayo. Napa mo din ha?
Mami.
Napa di
Napa,
ay.
miss.
Sige. Sige. With a certain kuan,
Miss,
Miss.
kani machine 1 unsay mahitabo? The washer. Naman ta din he. Load clothes and detergent in machine 1. Unsa na may mahitabo sa machine 1? Naunsa man?
Loaded, miss.
Okay, so being loaded. How about the machine 2? With this certain activity, naunsa man si machine 2?
Ting,
Ha?
wala pa, miss. Kanang kon.
Unsa may kuan ana? Unsa may kuan ana ron? Term na to ana. Na being loaded siya sa
Tingin.
machine 1, but
Igray na
however,
mo sila.
sa machine 2, naunsa man siya?
Wala.
Wala pa.
Wala pa man siya
So,
kuan,
siya
miss.
atong i-term ana, that is idle. Okay?
Idol.
Idle
Idol
siya.
or idol?
Idol, miss. Okay.
Idle. Idle. Okay? So, that's idle time. Karon, si operator na idle man, so may natabo sa machine 1. Nag-unsa day si machine 1. Na idle naman si operator.
Work.
Okay, which is, you can have say, run. Kay machine man siya no, nag-run na ang machine. How about machine 2?
Operate, miss.
Or
Nag-run. Run na,
okay.
miss. Nag-run.
Run, operate, or nag-work na. How about the machine 2? Unsa man si machine 2?
Idol gyapon,
Idle
miss.
gihapon. That's good.
Idol lang
Idol
gyapon may
gyapon.
butang, miss.
Okay, yes. Okay. Next, remove clothes from machine 1. So, sa machine 1, unsa naman ang washer?
Ay,
Na-remove naman ang clothes.
load. Na-unload.
That is
Stop, miss.
Loaded na siya, miss.
Loaded miss.
Ah?
Loaded miss.
Naunsa na siya na?
Being unloaded, miss.
Okay, that's good. The being unloaded. Kay gikuhaan naman siya. How about the machine 2?
Idol to gyapon, miss.
Idol gyapon, miss.
Okay, that's good. Idol gyapon siya.
Idol gyapon.
Two,
Okay.
miss.
Next. Kani.
Sorry.
Load clothes into machine 2. So, naunsa man si machine 1. Naunsa si machine 1.
Idol.
Okay, idol.
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 Okay.
Idol.
How
Idol,
about this
Idol
miss.
miss.
one? That is being loaded. Diba? Sakto?
Yes, miss.
Okay. How about this one?
Yes, miss.
How about
Miss.
this one? Load clothes into machine 1. So, the same thing. Being loaded.
Being loaded, miss.
Okay, being loaded. And then, ay, sorry. Z.
Loaded.
Okay. How about the machine 2? Naunsa naman?
Being loaded.
Siya, miss.
Okay, that's good. Nag-operate siya.
Wait na siya.
Okay, nag-operate siya. Nag-work. Okay, how about this one? Idle na si operator. Idle na siya. Nag-unsa na day ang machine 1. Naunsa na. Nag?
Miss. Na-operate ang machine.
Okay. Nag-run.
Nag-operate na, miss.
Okay, how about the machine 2?
Nag-operate
Okay,
gyapon
very
siya, miss.
good. Nag-operate gihapon. How about this one? Naghang, nag-clothes ang operator. What happens to machine 1 and machine 2?
Idol, miss. Nag-idol, miss.
Okay, for the machine 1, ay wait. Okay, wait. Ay sayop, dara de. Ano de, kuing ang nabutan ko, dara.
Nag-skip.
Okay. So, kani, remove clothes from machine 2. Naunsa naman ang machine 1.
Loaded. Unoperate.
Ang
What?
machine
Loaded.
1, ang
Run.
machine 1, machine 1.
one kay
Run or operate, miss.
Miss.
Remove clothes from machine 2 man. Ang 1 kay naunsa.
Yan ang
Si
machine.
miss ang machine 1. Nag-run ka, miss. Kaya ang machine 2 may dito. Run. Machine 1.
Idol na.
Operate, miss. Operate.
Idol miss.
Idol na. Idol na. Idol na, oy.
Operate pa.
Ay,
Oh, idol ra, miss. Kaya
Idol na.
gikuhaan
Nakuha-
ang
nakuha na dahil siya clothes.
Sige. Ang 2 kay being unsa naman ang 2? Remove clothes from machine 2.
Unloaded.
Being unloaded. Ay, sa ato na
Oh.
i-copy.
Unloaded.
Unloaded.
Miss.
Okay, unloaded. Hang clothes, meaning sa machine 1 and 2, naunsa naman.
Idol na, miss.
Sige,
idol na. Idol
idol na ang machine 1 and machine 2.
na, miss.
Okay, that's it. So kana, ma-identify nimo ba
Yes,
nga,
miss.
ma-identify nimo nga it's very possible for one operator for 2 machines. Pwede dahil siya makatrabaho ra dahil siya kanang gani siya time nga ma-idle siya, di ba? So pwede pa man gani maka-additional pa og another machine. So kana mo na siya yung purpose to study if kaya ba sa operator to handle lot of machines or kanang kuan ba ka vice versa ang kuan ba usara ka machine and then daghan og operators. Okay?